I am coming on tonight because I have been injured and staying home and not doing much. And I'm actually facing a fear at this very moment in time. So, for those of you that may not know what fear that is, I've been telling you guys I've been trying to challenge myself in many, many ways. And this is one of them for me. I've never just kicked it with you guys. So, I'm going to bring you guys with me for what I'm going to do. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be grouting the rest of my floor. And I'm going to be talking about God. I'm going to be talking about life. I'm just going to be kicking it because this is a fear of mine. For those of you that do or don't know me, every day we go through fears. Every day we have to challenge ourselves in ways we've never done before. And one of the ways that I have been always scared is not doing things prepared or just doing them on the fly or just allowing myself to be loved by people for just being who I am. And that might not be a fear of yours, but it's a fear of mine simply because most of my life I've had to always be something to someone. And I've never just received love for just being myself. I didn't receive love much when I was trying to do things in order or I was trying to do things that were, politically correct or above board, let's say. And I feel like that in order for me to get out of this hump, in order for me to really excel, in order for me to really challenge who I am, I need to do the things that scare me, and this is one of them. So let's get started. Let's just chill with Ashley on a Friday night. I'm a little injured, as you guys know. I hurt my back. I am healing, but I'm still tweaking. Like there are times that I twinge when I bend over and such. So we're gonna get started. How about that? So we got a bowl. We got a bowl. We got our grout. We got our grout. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm just gonna be mixing the grout. Now I know they say to use some gloves, but what I will let you know is I've been doing construction for some time, and I do totally recommend gloves, but I'm not going to use them. Okay. What I would say is that try your best not to breathe it all in. That's about it, because realistically, it's not good for us. Now, what I'm going to be doing is it's kind of like pancake mix in a sense, but what you want to be doing is making sure it's not very liquidy like pancake mix. You want to make it kind of tough and kind of like thick, because it's grout. It's going into your tiles. If it's too watery, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to get my handy spatula and I'm going to start pouring in some water. And I'll show you guys. I'm going to eyeball it because I've made enough of this stuff. But for those of you that have never done that before, I would totally recommend, looking at what the bag says. But if you're somebody who's comfortable with concrete or different foundations of concrete, I would say so. You got about this much in here. Because what I'm doing is I'm going to be doing the rest of my floor, as you guys can see. Doing the rest of the floor. Because I'm not doing much. And I'm just chilling on a Friday with all of you. If you guys want to chime in, I'm just going to be chilling, doing some flooring and talking about life and God and all that jazz. And facing a fear of mine. So I hope you guys all just... Hola, hello. Hello, hello. How are you guys today? Oi and dieci. I don't know what that means. The chi? I'm sorry. I don't know what language that is. Hi, how's everybody? So for you guys that are just joining in, I'm going to be talking about life and love and everything else in between. And I'm going to be grouting my my floor because I'm injured and I'm at home just chilling. By the way, how are you guys doing tonight? Can I please wash my hair? I know I have to. I was actually going to take a bath after I do this grouting. So I told myself, I'm like, why bother doing the bath and all that before the fact of getting dirty? I am from Canada, Toronto, Canada. And I am making grout so that I can grout my floor. How are you guys doing today? Yes, we should always collect good people. You know how hard it is in this world to collect good people? Most of us spend all of our life discerning. So I'm just mixing up my grout right now. I'm adding water as I go. Do any of you guys ever grout your floors? Have you guys ever grouted your floors before? Maybe you guys will enjoy it, watching somebody talk about life and love and grouting a floor. You don't want it to be too runny. That's the main focus here. Oh, somebody took their message away. I didn't even know you could do that. You could take messages away? Oh, no, never do that on a live stream. Come on. Hello, people. This isn't OnlyFans over here. This is just a woman who's who's trying to try out a live and grout some floors. So if you are looking for something like that, I totally recommend OnlyFans. This is the grouting of the floors channel tonight. But anyways, so the reason why I'm doing this is because, like I said, this is a fear of mine, actually getting on a live and talking to people for the sake of getting to know people and just being more open-minded and trying to do something new. So as you can see, I got a lot of stuff all around me, and I'm going to be grouting the floor down here. Oh, it is so nice to be alive. Here we go. I'm down on the ground. So we have our grout. It looks kind of like a mixture of in between hard and in between soft. It's not too hello, welcome to my live where we're going to learn how to grout a floor. We're going to do tiles. As you guys can see, I've got 24-inch by 12-inch tiles here that I'm going to be grouting on the ground today. I hope you guys enjoy this live because it's going to be a different one. Usually I'm talking about the powers that be, Yeshua, God, all of that, which is awesome to talk about. But today I felt like coming on and getting to know people because I've been down and out and I've been trying to figure out. You made that with your girlfriend. Oh, good for you. That's a little chunky for my taste, but hey, whatever floats your boat. Okay, so for those of you that are still watching, I have my handy spatula here. This is the one you want to use. It's the flat one. It's not serrated. It's not metal. It's actually very soft. So you can either dip into the mortar like this, or you can use your spatula to do it. But yeah, no, honestly, I'm coming to face the fear, and I'm glad you guys came on because now I get to honestly say that I'm trying things that I've never done to know. Serious note, what am I doing? I'm grouting a floor. I've been injured and I'm stuck at home on a weekend, so I figured I'm gonna grout the rest of my kitchen floor. We had a huge, horrible storm here about a month ago here in Toronto, and it like took out most of our waterways, etc. And a lot of us got basements flooded down here. So I've been trying to finish my floor. I'm a single mom whose money's not always for people to take away. So I'm trying to. I'm good at this stuff, so I do it anyway. So I'm just letting you guys. But this is how you grout a floor, and I've been doing this tonight just simply because I wanted to get to know everyone that comes on. But if you guys have any questions, I know a lot about the esoteric. I know a lot about law. I know a lot about life. I know a lot about many things. So please, by all means, chime in. What are you guys up to other than watching me on a live? Let me know what you guys are doing. Are you guys tiling floors and grouting floors as well? Please let me know. I'm just seriously down here. It's Friday night, and I'm not going to be doing anything too crazy. Oh, and I injured my back, so I can't do a lot of bending and all that jazz. But I am honestly coming on because I never thought I'd see myself doing a live like this. But like I said, I've got to break out and break free. Sometimes you got to do stuff that scares you, and this is definitely one of those times. But I guess realistically, I'm coming on because I'm going through some stuff in my life where I feel like I got to be more honest and open. So this is people getting to know who I am. And for those of you that don't know me, what I do. Do I have Instagram? Yeah, I got Instagram, but I got two. The one I use for my business is Up High Healing. I'm a higher self channeler for any of you. I'm not going to go into all of that tonight because that's not the point of my my live tonight. My live was to show people how to do grouting. So, but yes, Up High Healing, you can check me out. I do a lot of different posts there. That is my Instagram. I also have a Facebook by the same name, and I also have a channeling channel that I do that on as well, aside from this one. So it's Up High Healing, just UP High Healing. A lot of people think it has to do with weed and stuff, but that's not what I'm doing. It's because I connect with higher selves. So I put high in the name. So as you guys can see, what I'm doing first is I'm doing a straight line. The reason why you want to do it straight is so that you get all those crevices. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do a cross pattern the second time around. Okay, so when you do it this time, you're going to do a cross pattern like this, cross, cross, so that you get all the crevices. And realistically, when you do that, you'll notice that you cover more of the area you need to. And then you just strip it down and you clean it up. And after you've done all of that work, you use your trusty sponge with very minimal water and you wash it off. So that's what I'm up to. But yes, by trade, I'm not usually doing tiling. I just decided tonight because I wasn't doing much. I didn't have a date or anything. And I decided to get to work because I've been super bored at home. Like, I don't know about you guys, but injuries are not fun. And realistically, what do you do when you live in a shoe? You move into a boot. So I guess I'm also trying to crack jokes. I'm also just trying to kick it with you guys. But I don't think most of you are even my subscribers. So this is all new and exciting to me. I've never done a live like this before. And I'll see if I do it again. But realistically, what we could talk about is anything. I'm a pretty open book. I am almost 40 years old. I am the mother of a beautiful little boy. And he is sleeping right now. And technically, I am just somebody who wants to get to know other people. I don't want to live my life always alone. However, it looks like at this very moment, there is no one on this live. So, it doesn't look like I'm winning. But it's okay. In heart, in spirit, I am winning. You know what I mean? So, as you guys can see, I'm continuing on with the grout. I'm doing this. It looks a little sloppy, but that's okay. I'm doing my X pattern, slide down, X pattern, because the X fills in all the gaps. So yeah, because I find that sometimes doing stuff like this is kind of meditative too. That's another thing. Meditation is a good thing that all of us have to do, but it doesn't have to always be the conventional way. Sometimes I like to just do things that are monotonous so that I can go into a trance state. As a channeler, being in a trance state is very important, simply because it allows your mind to open up to spaces that you know, wouldn't cloud it with more judgments, etc. But as I am telling you guys this right now, and there may not be many people, the reason why I'm facing this fear is simply because I haven't done it before. In this next part of my life, I'm going to be doing things that I've never done before. I've never exposed myself like this before. I've never just kicked it with people. I've never not kicked it with people. It's kind of interesting because to realize that you are so susceptible to everything in life, and everybody is also susceptible to things. But where do I begin? Really, it looks like no one's on. They all came and they all went because Ashley is just chilling doing the tiling of the floor. But that's okay. Can't be perfect all the time. Gotta love not being perfect because that's the only way you realize who you truly are. So I'm attempting to do this out of mania. I'm attempting to do this out of satisfaction of testing oneself. And I also feel like that's an important thing because in this life, I've been tested so much. I've been to levels where I've had no one in my life, and I continue to have more animosity and hardships as life goes on. But that doesn't stop me. It doesn't stop my vibe. It doesn't stop me from achieving. It doesn't stop me from anything I'm trying to do. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you got to believe in yourself more than you have to rely on other people or other folks. And that's the main takeaway I could say. Whenever the world isn't treating you well, whenever the world isn't showing you the gratitude that you deserve, you got to be gracious to yourself. You gotta find that space, you know. You gotta find the space where you accept yourself enough to just say, hey, you know what? I like me, and that's all that matters. It's really hard to do that, though. Because a lot of people in this day and age, they want to conform. They want to, you know, do what's socially acceptable. Really and truly. The reason why I'm doing this, where did this thing go? I had a hammer and a chisel so that I could chisel off some of the stuff that I was doing. But it looks like I don't got it. So I'm going to get back to doing what I was doing. But yeah, hardships in life are a part of life. I think we all go through a lot of stuff. Realistically, all we can do is push forward. That's the only thing I've ever learned. I'm almost 40, and that's all I've ever learned is that you can only push forward. You can, you know, they say that time heals everything, and it's so true. Because even with deaths, even with anything else that people go through, Time is that only capacity that we have to ever see things in a distant self that allows us to feel as if we are amounting to a space that gives us that perspective enough that we can actually challenge to move on. It's not the easiest thing. I think I put too much. Oh no. No, I think it's good. I don't know. We'll find out. If it's too wet, it's too wet. There's not much I can do after that because I ran out of the bag. So, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like it is. Maybe it just seems like that right now because I'm just doing something I've never done. No, I've done the tiling before. I've just never done the live before. But yeah, we have to learn from our hardships. That's all we can do. We can't try to ever think that we can control much in this life because we can't. I mean, the only thing we can really control is like how much we eat, what we say, when we say it. If we blow our nose, don't blow our nose. Those are the things we can kind of, what we decide to drive to one day, but the fact of us getting to the destination, that's not in our control. We can control getting in the car, we can control driving, but we can't control the destination. So sometimes in life we get so mad at ourselves because we're not where we think we should be and all that jazz, but really and truly it's like, that's something I had to realize on this journey that was so difficult because I was one of the most impatient people I've ever met. I strove so hard to do things on time. I used to stress myself the hell out. It's a wonder why I was a drunk back in the days. Because honestly, like I was always timing myself and always putting myself in these parameters that would drive me absolutely apeshit. And then I would get mad at myself when I didn't get to the times and places that I wanted to. And it was like self-defeating all the time. It was like I'd set up these things for myself, fail, then I get mad that I failed, and then once I failed, I wouldn't want to do it again because I failed the first time. But really, if I had just told myself certain things were not in my control and I just let things flow, it would have been a lot better. But that takes time. Not everybody wants to hear that because a lot of us think we control everything in our destiny. And I mean, we control our destiny as far as like deciding what to do, how to do it, but we don't control like the outcomes of the things we do. So realistically, all we can do is apply action, and by applying action, we can see how far we get. But to actually put presumptive, like actual time frames on everything, that's just going to lead you to disappointment. Truly, wholeheartedly, that is my one memento as someone who's made it this far so far in life. And if I'm talking to older people, then you get what I'm saying. If I'm talking to younger people, maybe you're going through that right now. I remember, especially in my 20s, oh my God, I used to tell myself things like, oh, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to have a house. By the time I'm 27, I'm going to have a car. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have that. I used to tell myself all these things. And then by the time I got there and I didn't have everything, or I didn't have the car, the color I wanted, and this and that, I would just get so mad, and it would deter me from my future actions because I just spent all my time worrying about all the things I set up for myself and I had no real control over. But I was not willing to accept that. I thought I was like my own little mini controller of everything. It made me feel safe. It made me feel better. I don't know about you guys, but it did for me. So as we continue grouting the floor, yeah, it's like a lot of people think that, like, not to say that we can't go get a job and go get money and like try to be the best person working and all that. That's not what I mean. What I mean is parameters. What I mean is like telling yourself like, oh, I'm going to go be the CEO in 5 years. There's nothing stopping you from being the CEO, really and truly. It's the parameters of the time frame you give yourself. Like sometimes people get to that 5-year mark and because they didn't get it, they quit. And then they never like become who they said or set off to be. So that's why I'm saying parameters sometimes kind of dwindle the possibility of you even achieving it sometime in your life because of the parameters. So I would totally say that that's one thing I learned as I got older was just like stop with the parameters, set your sights for what you want and work towards it daily. That's the only thing you can really do. It's the only thing you can really control in this life. Now, it looks like I'm going to have to find that hammer and that chisel because I got a lot more pieces that need to be fixed. But for the life of me, I have no idea where it is. Maybe I can find a hammer, like a legit hammer. I don't know. I don't know if I have the hammer here. Yeah, my house is a little disheveled, but that's okay. It actually looks super cute when it's all done up. But presently it doesn't look super cute, as you can see. But I'm gonna make it cute. It's all gonna come back together. It's all piecing together. And that's, like I said, about life. Like, you can't get mad at the fact that it rained. I mean, you can, because it kind of sets you back, you know. Oh, that's one chisel. All right, I got one. Now I just got to find something hard enough to hit it with. Maybe my garlic grinder might work. But, or actually, no, this is no too late. Yeah, I mean, parameters is kind of what messes it up, what fucks it up, because you get deterred. If you just have the passion that you have from moment to moment, day to day, and you just keep working towards it, that's actually a healthier goal to have than to put the parameters. The parameters just make you sad at the end of the day when you don't get there. And then obviously when you deter yourself so much, you end up feeling bad about yourself. You end up being more self-conscious about your next goals. So really and truly, parameters, you know, people say, oh, make your goals and then put time frames. That depends on the person. Because some of us are so, like, what's the word, competitive with ourselves, that those actual parameters and time frames are what messes us up. So it's like, I understand if you're somebody who's more of a procrastinator, then time frames are your friend, because it's like that'll give you the stimulation to do it in the first place. But for those of you that are competitive, I totally say don't do that, because if the world should not bend to your will fully and truly, you'll find out, like I said, that you get depressed, you get kind of lopsided, and you don't want to continue on doing what you were doing, because you're like, oh, I couldn't do it in 5 years. I should give up on this. And if your heart still wants to do it, that's the sad part, because it's like you actually walked away. You became more depressed that you couldn't do it. And then when you want to attempt something else, you're like, oh shit, why would I go do something else if I failed at this thing? So you can see it's a ripple effect actually that happens and takes place. Where the hell did this hammer go? I had a hammer yesterday, not yesterday, 2 days ago when I did the other side. See, I did this side. This is what it looks like after you filled in all the gaps, and you see it's a little white still. So I gotta clean it. But yeah, I did the corners here. I gotta clean the wall here. But yeah, now I'm doing this side. See how it's all empty and stuff? So now I'm just filling in the gaps over here. So that's what I'm up to. But yeah, I've been noticing in this time that there's things that I've never done, and one of them is just being myself. And it's not to say that I'm not myself, but it's like, what's the word? I always try to think that, try to put things polished and put it together, and I realize that's hindering me, because in this next time, in this next season of my life, I gotta just start putting myself out there. I gotta start looking, you know, be not intimidated to reach out to people and hope that people will love me back. And I know that's really scary for some people. And you know what inspired me was literally today, I saw some lives just going on of people just chilling in their houses. And I was like, you know what, Ashley? You've never done that. You never just sat in your house and tried to talk to people. That's something I've never done. So I figured, I was like, let's do something that breaks the cycle. So this is me breaking the cycle. Just coming on, seeing who comes on, and loving life and talking to people. That's it. Never done it before. I'm going to try it now, because I really feel truly like this is how I conquer my fears. And you know what? People might be like, oh my God, isn't that like the stupidest fear ever? But that's the whole point of fears. Everybody's got different ones, and everybody's got hard ones. And mine is just like saying, hey, what's up? Isn't that crazy how our fears work? And if somebody else were to have the same fear, they would laugh at your fear. They'd be like, oh my God, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But to you, it's like the most gruesome bear. It's the biggest tiger. It's the biggest amount of nothing, right? And that's the thing about fear. It really and truly, when you finally face them, just like I am right now, I'm realizing there's nothing to be scared of. Like, what's the worst case scenario? No one comes on my live. What's the worst case scenario? No one talks to me. Oh, well, you know, how is that different from what I was doing before I came on the live? Not much. So sometimes I have a chance of having a better outcome by attempting my fear than I do just sitting around complaining about it. So as you guys can see, what I'm doing now is I'm doing that cleaning portion that I talked about. So when you first do the grouting, you want to do it crisscross so that you can get all of the elements in. And then when you're done with the grouting, you clean it off with your spatula. So as you guys may or may not know, I'm grouting a floor while I talk to people. And maybe if you guys want to watch, you can watch what I'm doing. But here's the next one. It's empty. You take your spatula with some grout and you go, first you go straight. Then you go criss-cross, criss-cross, criss-cross. And then you drag it straight again, then criss-cross. This gets all of the crevices taken care of. And then you try to clean it up as best as you can. And when you're done with all of that, you can take your handy sponge and you can clean all of this stuff off. And that's basically what I'm doing. So I hope you guys either learn about me or you learn about grouting. Either way, I think it's a success. What do you guys think? So this is a sponge I'm talking about. It's a big one. It sucks up a lot. Okay? But yeah, so I'm facing a fear right now as we speak. And you guys are all participating in it. Oh, shoot. Took too much water. You don't want too much water with the sponge. You want to make it like half spongy, half water. Because the thing is that if you saturate the mortar too much, then it'll be hard to lay later because you've spent too much water on it, and that's not good either. But yeah, so I feel like I wanted to really get myself, across the board. Because you know what? Next week, come rain or come shine, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to start doing my readings out live. Just like this, but a little more intense, because everyone will get to see if I make it or break it, or if I'm a real deal or if I'm a jack fake. You know what I mean? It's one of my bigger fears too. And it's not because I don't believe in what I do. It's just because my whole life, like I've said at the beginning of this, have always tried to control everything. I've always tried to bring my best foot forward, whatever I thought that was, right? But realistically, what I never did really was let people in or show people my truest sides and hope that they loved me or cared about me. So this particular live is all about me breaking that fear. And the reason why is because if you look at all my other videos, I talk about shadow side. I talk about how to face fears. So I feel like, hey, now you're seeing a real application. I have no makeup on. I'm sitting in the dirty ground. I've got my grout. I got my tiling, I got no filter, no nothing. So this is really me facing a fear. And you guys are just being a part of it because you guys are cool peeps that are going to be a part of it. Thank you. I appreciate that, James. Like, I don't know what you look like, but I bet you're a gorgeous person too. You are at heart anyways, because that's a very beautiful comment. Yeah, for some of us out there, we just kick it old school. And at the same time, like, a lot of us have a lot of those fears deep inside of us. Like, most of us have a hard time with rejection. A lot of us have a hard time with talking to people. We're all a little bit socially awkward. Like, we could maybe talk in an office setting, but if you put us out in a nightclub, we zip, zip, zip. I don't know if that's your problem, guys, but that was my problem. I'm a big talker, but hey, you put me in a nightclub with people and try to go and schmooze people. Oh my, that is not my forte. So I'm just saying, with all of us, our fears are totally different. And, we all gotta bite the bullet sometime. And this is me biting that bullet. But if you guys have any questions, like I said, I'm very good at esoteric. I'm very good at talking about spiritual stuff. I know a lot about law, Canadian law predominantly, because I'm here in Canada. Well, for about 8 years, I was in law. And then about 2 years ago, I was endowed a gift by God, which was to connect with people's higher selves. So I gave up my 9 to 5 and I began my mission of becoming a higher self channeler healer. And what I can do is I can connect to people's higher selves, and I kind of do a therapy session. But it's not really therapy that I provide. It's actually you providing your own therapy, because the higher self information is coming from you. So what happens is that I channel all this stuff. I write it all down. I use a person's name. That's it. I don't use cards. I don't use a ball. I don't use anything else. And with the resonance of the name, I connect to the higher self. The higher self gives me information specifically to do with you. Like, let's say things that you're challenged with in life, things you thought about, things that you're wondering if you should make certain steps, etc., in your life. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. This has been a year for me now in this journey, and it's been going quite well. I just got my website up, which is uphighhealing.com. And I'm trying to navigate this whole online world that I was never in my entire life, because I was part of the boom that like was previous to internet. So my entire, life being in law and being a law clerk never involved getting on videos and making videos and all this jazz. So for me, this is all brand new. That's why I'm saying everything I do is to challenge some other part of myself, because I need to get better at communicating with people via video, or doing things that are so natural for other people, especially younger people that are so used to this. So to me, it's like really different to come on and really share in this way, because this was never my life. So, but I do love what I do because it does provide healing for people. And I've never been able to do something that made me feel like I was giving back to the world. So to be blessed enough to do this is really important to me. So that's why I made this YouTube channel in the first place. That's why I've made my Up High Healing channels. It's all because I want to share and I just want to get my word out there. And so next week, I told myself that I was going to start doing lives like this on Instagram. And I was going to go to like different areas of my city and offer people readings so that they could see what I can do and how I can help them. So that's basically what I'm doing. How about you, James? What do you do? Now I turn the tables back on you. That's if you want to share. You don't have to share. You're the only person here, so it's just you and I at this point. And I really appreciate it because, there's never a dull moment. What can I say? But yeah, that's what I'm up to. I guess James got quiet. And that's okay. I know it's kind of hard when you're the only one on a live. Seriously. Like, I remember the first couple lives I did. Just keep posting what inspires you and use it on. You did a door-to-door business? Oh my gosh. I remember when I was like in my teen years, like in high school, I did door-to-door. And guess what I sold? I sold the most ridiculous thing in the world. And honest to God, one thought came to my mind one day and I quit. Because I was going door to door selling knives, if you can believe it. Okay? I was selling knives. And then after doing it for like 2 or 3 months, the thought came across my head. You were walking door to door offering weapons to people. And which door is it going to be that you find the psychopath that uses your own knives to kill you with? I know that's a very dark-seated thought, but I was like, I think 17 years old, and I just stopped right there. I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I remember I used to like saw ropes and stuff to show people, and I'm like, I'm just showing them how good it cuts stuff. And what did you sell door to door, James? Oh, by the way, just so you know what I'm doing, see how there's like grout that's like overfilled here? I'm just breaking it down so that I can. Hello Fresh. Oh, that's a food company, isn't it? Yeah, I tried them a couple times. I actually loved it. It's just that it's a little pricey, considering that it's pricey for everyone everywhere. So it's not like it's just pricey for HelloFresh. It's pricey for everything. I don't know where you from, James. I'm in Canada. Oh my gosh, this is harder than I thought. Ugh. English. Did you mean England? Because I don't know of the city or town or country of English. I'm just messing with you, but yeah. Because Yeah, you're in England. We're in England. I've been to England a couple times, not many places, but I've been to London, and I've been to Manchester and Liverpool. And I will say that's a very pricey place to live, at least for us Canadians. Central London, oh my gosh, I love London. London's awesome. Actually, my favorite, what was my favorite? Camden's nice, but oh, what was that other area? On the other side of the bridge, I forgot. Oh my god, it's been so long. I haven't been there since like 2014. But central London's gorgeous, but so expensive. You might like, I guess it's just as a tourist, it seems super expensive because like my dollar to your pound is like three of them to like your pound. So even a beer, like a pint of beer in London cost me like, to my ratio, like $21. It was pretty crazy. I was like, I can't afford London. It's too much. But you guys, like your dollar, I mean, your pound is like so powerful and you could do very, very much with it. Do you like it yourself? Obviously you do because you live there. Sorry, this is so annoying. I figured for a live that might not be the best sound. But it's needed to get done. Unfortunately, if you find this annoying, please just let me know. I can work on a different area. But I'm just chiseling it out because I won't be able to put anything in if I don't. But yeah, I'm totally open to any questions or anything you want to know. I don't know. I feel different now that I'm talking to someone directly. I've never done that before. Oh man. Oh, it's almost getting there. Almost chiseled it out. Okay. I'm going to see the final product when I'm done. Yeah, it's expensive because of all the stuff that's going on, the ridiculousness. But you know what? I feel like what's happening is that greed is literally being so surmountable to the point that it's going to squeeze us, that we all revolt across the world and try to ask for our life and our lives back. So it's like really their greediness is just helping us find power within ourselves. Because I know at least here in Canada, we're fighting for everything now. We're fighting for our rights when it comes to sexual designation. We're fighting for our rights for food prices to come down and fighting lobbyists within the supermarket world. We're fighting, oh my gosh, we're fighting for our laws to keep our health care, even though we get taxed like crazy. It's nuts over here. And not to mention, we have the United States popping off at the same time. Who knows what's going to happen over there by November? This whole world is just getting to a topsy-turvy point that we have to really realize that we are crucial players in a huge, huge world change. Like every single individual and every single human has a part to play in this topsy-turvy world that we're living in right now. Because realistically, that's what it's going to come to. I feel like all the 7 sins, all, greed, lust, gluttony, all of it, it's all playing out, right? And we as humans have to take hold of it and be like, you know what? This stops now. This stops here with me. This stops here with us. Because like you said, James, it's getting nuts everywhere. You live in a place. What part do I want to play? Oh man, I would love to be someone who's not only am I a cheerleader, but I also like to teach. Like if you look at my channel, most of what I do is teach people how to help themselves with the esoteric world or try to connect with things. I just want to help people be their best selves because I feel like if I can teach someone and someone else can teach someone else, it's all such a ricochet effect. So realistically, the part I play is just to help others, teach others, unite with others. And one person said to me, oh, you could be a leader, and I'm not going to say no to that, but I also feel like too that maybe that I want to wear multiple hats. I want to be able to help people regardless. That's my main goal, is helping. So I think I'm an aid. I'm someone of that degree. What about you, James? What do you think? Or whoever else is here, don't get shy. I'm just grouting my floor here for the next person that just joined us. I'm just talking life and love with James here. And I'm grouting a floor, so if you want to chime in, no pressure. But yeah, it's I'm curious. I always like to know where everyone's at because we all have different parts to play. You know, we're not all vanilla over here. And I'm sure in Europe, in different places, they all have different parts to play because there's so many lucrative countries right now that are going through such exhaustive changes that, you know, sometimes we're put where we are simply because we're supposed to make a huge change within our own community, within our own area. That's, you know, if you had met me like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, before this whole ascension thing started, I was just a run of the mill 9 to 5er, but I had a heart of gold and I had a heart of passion and I had a heart of wanting to help, but I just kept suffocating it all the time. And I started getting really bad anxiety and I started getting really bad gastral issues. I started seeing the world around me fall apart. Like every time that I found things to not make sense and I started fighting for my rights and fighting for myself and fighting for what I believed in, I lost more and more people as time went on. And I've gained a whole other grouping of people over the last 3-4 years. So I can honestly say that for those that do understand why this change is necessary, I think it is because this world is epically changing in front of our eyes. And if people are still denying that, then I guess I have no clue where in the world they live because I feel like everywhere is popping off in some degree or form. And that's why I think it's beautiful that we all live in an age with the internet because none of this would be possible without it. Like, what would we be doing? Like going to the corner and going, hear ye, hear ye. You know, we had radio, we had some television, but we never controlled the television. We never controlled the airwaves. At least with internet, yes, there's bots. Yes, there's algorithms. Yes, there's things that slow us down. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, things like YouTube or just having the freedom and platform of space to actually try is really a beautiful thing. But that's what it's about, losing stuff. Yeah, you know what? It is about losing stuff because realistically, the more I've lost, the more I've claimed. The more I've lost, the more I've gained. Oh, geez. He got his foot stuck like in the welds of like maybe the sewer or something. Oh, man. That's brutal. Well, I mean, we didn't. I know we had a lot of damage here in Toronto when this flood hit. We haven't had a flood like this before. You would cut it off. Well, you know what? If I had the resource to cut it off or break my leg off, I'd probably do it too because if I knew I was going to drown, then yeah. But if I didn't have like a bandsaw with me, how would that be possible? What would you start like gnawing it off? How would you do it in such a fast time? Yes, you definitely have to. But you know what? I think the part of ourselves that we actually cut is the shadow. I think the part that we actually cut is the masks that we've created over time. Because realistically, all I found is the more I cut people, places, things, is when I started getting more closer and closer and closer to my childhood self, when I started realizing who I truly am. So realistically, everything that I lost was just a facade anyways, because it wasn't really genuinely in made. I didn't make it genuinely. I made it off of facades and you know, catering and maybe people pleasing or whatever the case may be in my past self, you know, and maybe you did too. I feel like we're not really losing it. We're actually, like you said, we're gaining. Yeah, like I don't know, it's weird. I feel like we're really just getting back to ourselves. The original version, the OG version, it's like we rebooted ourselves to the beginning again. And I love that because I can honestly say I've been feeling and living more authentic as life takes me on these journeys. So I feel like living authentically is probably the most healing thing I've ever done for myself. And a lot of us that are ascending are actually trying our best to do this right now. So I don't know where you're at, James. You sound pretty philosophical and you sound like you're pretty deep. So you must be you still haven't answered what's your deal? Like what where's your place in this, James? Or for how do you see yourself in this, James? And also, that happens a lot by cutting stuff off to grow. That happens a lot with plants. If you cut different parts of the plant off, it actually makes the plant grow faster. If you pick your beans or you pick your raspberries or you pick your fruit, it actually causes the fruit to grow back like thrice fold. So very, very true words, James. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, this time of ascension, we can't really see it as losing. I can't even say that I've lost anything truly. Like I use the word lose, but I don't even think that's the right word for it. I've just reestablished, I've renegotiated, I've reinvented. I don't know. There's a lot of words for that. I'm just gonna go clean my sponge for all of you that may or may not. But yeah, no, this has been pretty real. Just chilling at home, doing some grouting and talking to James and maybe someone else, but I can't see who it is yet, and that's okay. Don't get shy, don't get scared. I'm just grouting a floor talking about God and life. So please feel free to chime in whenever you feel fit. But yeah, no, we're never losing. I've only been gaining. And I also like the fact that I'm starting to challenge myself in ways I would never challenge myself. I haven't done stupid shit like this, I'm not even kidding, since like high school. Like where I just kick it with people. You know what I mean? Like high school, that's a long time for me. That's like over 30, well, no, like 20 something years that it's been where I've been this vulnerable. And a lot of people feel like vulnerability is like such a scary thing, and it is. It totally is. But there's such a strength in vulnerability, it's insane. Hey, you know what, in high school, like, I mean, I feel like when we're in high school, because we tend to find our first loves in that time, it's like as if our hearts are wide open in high school, right? Like we're so willing to give, to get to know, to, we're finally realizing what it's like to go through hormones and changes that we can't really control. And it's totally different than elementary school, because in elementary school you feel like you have more of a handle there, whereas like high school you get thrown into the water again and you're like, can you swim? Can you guys swim? Like, so I feel like high school is a very transformative time. I know for me, my actual abilities, like I was always very capable. I had a lot of abilities as a child, but my older ability sets kicked in when I was in high school. So it was a really interesting time because I had to make certain decisions, and ultimately I made the wrong ones because I gave in to things like peer pressure and listening to what people said and, thinking I was weird. So I kind of killed my abilities for many, many years. And it wasn't until recently, these last years, that I did enough of the work possible to get my ability or some of my abilities back. So there's a life lesson in high school that I think a lot of us learn, where we stand in our own right of who we belong with or who we believe we are. And I can honestly say that in high school, I was not the best kid. I was far from a good kid in high school. Like, I honestly don't even know how I made it through high school. I went to 3 different high schools. I didn't make, the first one shut down. The second one, I almost got expelled. And then the third one, I graduated 1 year after everyone else because of how badly. But you know what it was? It was just because I was so freaking bored. I was so bored in high school. I didn't want to be in class. I just didn't. The teachers were kind of asinine. Half of them were drinking and explaining their problems. And I was like, if I wanted that, I could go back home and listen to my parents. You know what I'm saying? So high school was not the place to be, unfortunately. But I know that I learned a lot in high school because of that. I got a different schooling than most people. People would call it the school of hard knocks, but I honestly think I learned a lot of street smarts that a lot of people that I meet don't have. So I'm really grateful for that. Like if I didn't have those street smarts, I probably wouldn't have been. I would have done as well as I did when I traveled, because those street smarts came in handy every time I went to a different country, and every time, it's kind of funny. The street smarts you find in one street kind of equate on all streets. So that's one thing I was grateful for growing up in a kind of seedy area and a seedy place in my high school career. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything, because now that I'm older, I feel like it's equipped me with all the tools I need to do this particular position in life. Like, I think I wouldn't have understood discernment as much if I hadn't been somebody raised on the streets, in a sense, because you had to learn how to discern really quickly. You had to know who was a fraud, who was a thief. You had to know who was a jackfake. You had to know who was going to take your wallet. You had to know who was going to try to punk you for your shoes. You had to know a whole bunch of stuff. You had to know what type of drug dealer was going to chintz you on a gram. Like, you needed to know a lot of stuff. So that type of understanding helped my discernment later in life, even in a spiritual way, because it was like learning, like, who to listen to, who not to listen to, and then realizing that all along you don't listen to anybody but yourself. Like, you listen to your heart, you listen to your gut, and that's what really gets you through everything. And that was a lesson that I learned because of what high school afforded me. High school was a great learning tool for understanding what the streets provided. And if you are joining in, I'm still grouting a floor. So welcome to all of you out there. Welcome to Friday Night Live with Ashley while she grouts a floor and talks about life and love. So my friend James here is still here. Thank you. But yeah, if you have any questions about grouting or God, feel free to chime in. I'm here for the taking. But yeah, this is all new to me. So, James, are you a older individual, or are you in high school yourself? Because I haven't asked those questions yet. Or anyone else who's on here, if you want to chime in, feel free. I promise, I don't bite. I may snarl, I may bark, but I don't bite. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, no, discernment was something that takes a long time to realize. And a lot of people still struggle with discernment every day. They're still looking for answers out there. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't out there. It's inside here. Like, this was the one thing that I can honestly say I learned from all of my time, ultimately, no one knows any more than you do. That's one thing I can say. Even though they might sound educated, even though they might sound smart, they don't know anything. Like, they don't know any more about God than you do. They don't know any more about angels than you do. They don't know any more about financial whatevers than you do. They might know certain topics, but they don't know. They can't come up with a complete foolproof plan for everything. So I don't think there's anyone that's been able to do that. Even though there's people out there that can teach you how to manifest, that won't work for every single person. It might work for a couple, but it's beyond me, because I see all these preachers out there that keep telling people like, oh, I'm the way. Love conquers all? Oh yeah. I know, it's crazy, right? What's up, Chris? How you doing? I'm just grouting a floor. Welcome to the show. Ashley grouts a floor on a Friday night. Welcome, brother. Yeah, he's an old timer. He's been on my channel. He's one of the first ones to actually reach out to me. He's a cool cat. And James is new here. I have not met him before, but yes, Chris, you've joined in. I'm actually fighting a fear right now. I don't know if I told you this before in some of our talks, but I'm actually just trying to just kick it with people and just be myself and see what happens. And since I was still injured, I was like, okay, I'm going to grout the floor tonight since I'm not going out or doing anything. It's a Friday night, and yet here we are. No, I'm not cleaning. I'm grouting. Grouting, see? Grout. I'm grouting the floors. Ta-da! Grouting. Tool, not cleaning, grouting. I'm actually making a mess on these floors right now. And I was teaching earlier how to do it, but now I'm just doing it. So I figured I'd just come on and see what's up, because I was saying to my friend James here earlier, and whoever else was watching me, that I was simply doing this live because I want to reach out and break out and face a fear of mine, which is just to kick it with people and not be composed and not have anything prepared. Many talents. Oh yeah. I will say this. Okay. I was raised as a tomboy, so I'm very athletic, but I also spent a lot of time doing painting and construction and stuff in college, simply because my parents didn't pay for my education, so I had a lot of hats and jobs in college. And painting was one of them. Grouting I've done a couple times doing construction, but it's really not the hardest thing in the world to learn, especially for women, because we already know how to do it with makeup. If you can believe, makeup products sometimes are very similar to grout, okay? Because it's like spackle you put on your face, and then, you can hide anything with it. So for those men out there, please be wary of women that look like they're perfect, because most likely they're wearing tons of makeup and they've had tons of plastic surgery. But if that's your thing, by all means. I'm not going to deter you guys from what is beautiful, because anybody can be beautiful to anyone at any time. You're off to bed, James. It's 3 a.m. All right, James. Well, thanks for chiming in. Thank you for all your kind words. And thank you for being the first person to chime in on my experiment. This is my social experiment, where I'm going to be talking about life and love and grouting as I grout my floor as I'm injured here. But if you guys have any questions, feel free. I can talk about anything. Life, love, spirituality, grouting floors, any type of construction. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm going to kick ass. I'm just going to run this live till I'm done with the floor. I'm almost done. So this is my way of finally breaking free, everybody. You're hungover. Oh, you went out yesterday? Oh, good for you, buddy. I'm glad you took my advice. You didn't stay home. Yeah. I hope you didn't do it by yourself. I hope you weren't drinking by yourself there, Chris. That's not cool. Please tell me that wasn't the case. Plus, at the same time, too, I don't really drink anymore, but I remember that was the one thing I couldn't stand about drinking was hangovers. It was like, oh my God, every time I drank, I regretted it. You know what I mean? Especially the older I got, I was like, my body can't take this anymore. I'm like, I don't remember this being so bad. This is not as fun as I remember it being. Like, that's how it became. I don't know, after like 35, drinking got hella fucking confusing. Because it's like I had to block off days if I went out drinking. I couldn't just like recuperate like I did as a teenager. And I think that's why drinking is not the best thing always, especially if you're somebody who takes a couple days to recoup. Oh yeah, the drinking, doing a month free or so, like, and you know what's great about doing a month free? And this was something I never noticed when I was in my drinking days, is that I never had a sober mind enough. Like, I was always cloudy. So I'm glad you gave yourself that break, Chris, because honest to God, taking a break from anything, it could be smoking doobs, it can be drinking, it can be overeating, it can be overseeing your loved, like your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Anything that's too much is toxic. The Europeans had it right. They always said find, that middle ground where you get a little bit of column A and column B. Totally about that, because not only do Europeans last the longest, they're one of the civilizations that has the oldest people on the planet, but they also have the best way of life, and that's already been documented. So realistically, doing a little bit here and there is not going to kill anybody. But I know that by eliminating something and making it taboo sometimes can be critical, because I'll be honest, I had friends of mine that stopped doing drugs. Olive oil, buddy. Olive oil right now, you have no freaking clue how expensive it is here. Olive oil is like, yeah, olive oil is great. That's why they live long. No, totally. But I don't know about you in New Zealand, but here in Canada, olive oil has become like gold. Okay. We used to pay $3.99 a bottle. We're paying $16.99 on sale. Okay. Crazy. We have Canada's so backwards. We're supposedly like some, first world country, but yet we can't afford anything here. Fruits and olive oil, you're a king. If you got fruits and olive oil here in Canada, you're a boss. Seriously, that's what it's like here. And when people tell me oh no, our economy is doing well. No, it ain't. I've never seen olive oil this expensive in my life. I've never seen fruits and vegetables. Everything that is good for us here in Canada is like 3 times the price, 4 times the price. Anything that's shit, like with sugar and salt, oh yeah, you can afford that. It's the same price. How's that possible? Is that not a conspiracy, or is it just me? Like, how is it that all the healthy food is 3 or 4 times the price? And everything that's a piece of shit that's going to kill us is still the same price. You want to go get Kraft dinner? It's not an olive oil shortage. What it is, I think, is that we don't have refineries, and a lot of us outsell our oil or pressing to another country. Yeah, it is much more expensive. It's crazy. I think realistically, what they're trying to do with the economy is squeeze us to the point that we all revolt. That's what I think is happening. Because people are like, oh, it's going to crash, it's going to this. Oh, yeah, it is. And I'm telling you, people are going to freak out by the time that day comes. Because people are getting tired. They can't afford their lives. They can't afford rent. They can't afford their mortgage. They can't afford their cars. You know how big of a problem we're having right now with cars? Like, there's so many cars that are trying to be sold off of lots where it's not even being sold. So right now, like, there's so many economies that are breaking down. And if people think that their economy and their country isn't falling apart, well, I think they're sadly mistaken. Because almost everybody I talk to, doesn't matter where in the world they are, they're all stressing out. They're all freaking out. It doesn't matter. Even people that I knew that were well off, they're not doing as well off as they used to. And these were people that I never thought. I have a friend in Malaysia, and I have a friend in the Philippines, and these guys were what you would consider like rich. One of them is the son of the Firestone tire industry. We're supposed to eat bugs. Yeah, I know what you're saying, man. It's getting to the point. Well, you know what? What I think it's going to instruct us to do also is to go find our own farmland and to go fish and hunt like we used to back in the day. Because this is getting ridiculous. Like, that's where we came from. We go to this industrialized revolution so that we think we can get things more prosperous for us. But really, all we did was give up our power. That's really all that happened. Because you know what? How many of us know how to hunt? I mean, I know some hunting. I've played around with a rifle with my uncle. He took me hunting a couple times. But I don't know how to use a crossbow. I don't know. I know how to fish. I know how to gut a fish. I know how to maybe gut animals if I really had to. But that's the thing. We're losing these skills every generation. And maybe it's by design, exactly like you're saying, Chris. Because that's the thing. It's like none of us have these skills. How many of us can sew? You know what I mean? These are basic skills. How many of us can make water out of salt water? There's so many things that we don't know. So if whatever these catastrophes that are laid in our path come, like, that's going to be the things we need to learn. Like, I've been telling myself for time, I'm like, I need to go learn how to, take a course on outdoor living, because realistically, if these guys decide to pull the plug on anything or make things so uncontrollable, or even better still, is if they start importing this whole digital currency and digital passport and all of that. If we don't comply with what they want with that type of system in play, we're not going to be able to buy a freaking thing. And then if we can't buy a freaking thing, then what are we going to do? So that's what I'm saying. They want us dumb and stupid. They want us all lost and confused. They want us dependent. They want us numbed with all this nasty food. They want us poisoned in so many ways. They want us poisoned for our food, our air, our water, our clothing, our laundry detergent. Almost everything we ingest in this world is trying to kill us. So the thing is that all of us that are trying to uproar and say, hey, we've had enough, there's going to be more and more and more of us as time goes on, because they're going to squeeze us to the point that we have no choice. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are all for this digital currency and this digital everything. I'm like, no, I don't want them knowing where I am. I don't want them knowing everything I buy. I don't want them knowing everything I do. And I want to start getting into skills. Like right now, like I'm teaching you guys how to grout a floor. Or I at least did earlier in the live. So if you do want to learn how to grout a floor, by all means, go check out the beginning of the live. But yeah, I love the internet for that reason, because a lot of us are sharing skills that we may not have. And I think what I'm going to try to start learning in the next little while is how to, distill water, start a fire, how to, I've been seeing guys selling like clean drinking water tubes, things like that. These are things that we got to consider because we never considered how topsy-turvy this world was going to get. Like really and truly, like I never thought I was going to be like 40 years old thinking like, oh yeah, like I got to learn how to kill a deer. Like I like or how do I break the neck of a chicken? Like these are things that we want to know in the future, because how do I plant vegetables in the winter? These are all things. How do I make clean drinking water on my own without the help of the government or society? These are things that I think are going to be ever present. And if you guys feel the same way, by all means, chime in. So all I'm doing right now, everybody, is I'm just, if you guys see, or Chris, if you see, I've made a mess. So I'm going to be using my trusty sponge to clean it up, because after you've used the spatula as much as you can to clean everything, you kind of have to take the sponge to do the last lapping of it. And then once I've done that, I should be done with the floor. And then you guys can check it out and see what you guys think. But how are you doing? Is anybody else? Is Chris the only person? I can't see who else is here, because it only says that it says I have 0 people. So if I have 0 people and I lost you, Chris, I apologize. But if there is anybody there, please chime in. Feel free to chime in. This is Ashley's going free and easy tonight. I'm doing the first live where I don't give a... I'm just going to let people get to know who I am in all ways, shapes, and form, because this has been my biggest fear. So I'm tired of being scared of my own shadow. And if you guys have watched my videos, that's all I talked about is shadow work and facing the shadow and what to do with the shadow. So here you go. This is live. This is how I'm doing it for myself, because I've always been scared of not being prepared and just being myself. So this is my shadow work that I'm doing right now. A lot of people just do this for the sake of doing it, and I'm doing it for the first time. And you know what? It feels pretty good, because for the first time, I'm not worried about what people think. Actually, it's usually just one person, but hey, it's me. I'm the one who's judging. We're all the one who's judging. No one gives a shit about your life as much as you do. That's the real truth. And I have to keep fighting that truth all the time, because I'll share something with you guys. Growing up, I was never really afforded much love unless I was winning. I was never afforded much love unless I was precise. I was never afforded much love unless I had all the answers, or I knew all the facts of what I was saying, or I had, backup points or backup articles for what I was saying. So to be on here at a later date in my life, actually exposing myself in a way that I never would have or was taught to growing up, because this would have been frowned upon in my family. They would have thought this to be embarrassing. They would have thought this to be less than. So for me to actually do this is actually an uproar for myself. And I'm sorry that was the way I was raised, but for some people, everybody's fears are different. So for me to just be exposed and just being myself and kicking it with you guys, this is one of my biggest fears. And it's not because I don't think you guys are lovely. I just think that I needed to love myself more, to really say that it's okay to not be prepared. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to not, have everything together. Because a lot of my life, I think that's what I do. I try to always have things together, because I don't think I was ever given a chance in my life to not have it together. I mean, I raised myself practically. I love my parents, but they weren't the best suited people in the world. They were quite conceited and quite to themselves, especially when I was growing up. I was the type of kid that kind of raised themselves. I didn't even get a seat in the living room. And I was an only child, put it that way. They would take up all the couches themselves, and I would just sit there and watch whatever television they wanted to watch and do whatever they wanted me to do, because I was just being a good soldier. So to be at a later stage of my life learning this important lesson of just loving myself enough to just be myself is kind of sad, but at the same time, because the thing is, I got to do it. Yeah, if you have a jungle, Chris, please go live in the jungle. Like, who doesn't want to see the freaking jungle? Especially those of us that don't have a jungle. How about them apples? I ain't got no jungle nowhere here in Canada. But yeah, if that's a fear of yours, going to the jungle and doing a live, then by all means. I think that's what this live's all about, facing fears. So if you are scared of doing a live, but I bet you in New Zealand is hella scary. You guys must have like massive spiders and shit. Like that would probably be terrifying for those of us out there that have never met huge, terrifying spiders. And all I'm doing, guys, right now is I'm just cleaning my grout and my tiles. For those of you that are still watching me grout my floor, we use this to grout and clean. But it's looking good. It's looking good. You're terrified of doing a live? Well, yeah, hear me. Like, I'm not terrified when I'm programmed, okay? I'm not terrified when I have a plan. What my big fear was, like you, Chris, is just doing something out of the realm of what's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And I don't know. You've known me this whole time. Have you ever seen me come on a live and just kick it? With no... Usually I make points. Usually I make a plan of what to say, what to do, so that I'm entertaining. I've never done it. You have no deadly insects in New Zealand? Only Australia has. Wow, that's amazing to me, because I would think like you guys being somewhat near each other would be the opposite. But that's why I ask these questions, because how would I ever know that? And I'm sure if there's anyone else watching or watches this later, they especially would love to know that too. But yeah, New Zealand, you were saying about Lord of the Rings. Unfortunately, I've never watched it. I do have to, because it's getting to the point where, you know, I should watch Lord of the Rings. I haven't watched any of those movies, to be honest. Maybe that's another fear of mine. I don't know. But if you guys, look, Chris, if it's any consolation, I'll be on your live when you do it. We got to help each other out. That's basically what I was saying this last bit, is that, like, even if we're facing fears, we got to do it together one by one. Because you know what? Now that I see you here, you're giving me confidence, because I know you're my homie. And you've been on my channel since the day one. You supported me right away. And that's what I mean. It's like, you've helped me right now. So when it's your turn... Yeah, New Zealand and Madagascar have the most separated biodiversity left. Laugh my ass off, The Hobbit. Okay, I'll take your way. Is that what I should start with? The Hobbit? Is that the movie recommendation you have? Because if that's the case, I'll watch it. And here we go. I'm almost at the last part. Criss, cross, criss, cross, criss, cross, 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 criss. Crisscross applesauce, everybody. Oh my gosh, it's been a wild ride. It's an hour it took me to do all this grouting, but I'm almost done. As you guys can see, like, I'm almost done at the end of the grout. It has been a wild ride. Oh, my name. Na, 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 na. Let alone sing online. Sing on... That's another fear of mine. I like to do karaoke, but I've never sung on a live. I'm not the worst singer in the world. I actually was endowed a gift of singing a couple years back. Much around the time that I was doing my channeling started coming through, my singing voice started coming through. So one of these days I'm going to have to break that fear and just come on and start singing and chilling and jamming and doing whatever. Maybe the next time I'll do this, I'll do it with cards or something. I don't know. You guys chime in. Na, 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 na. Well, wait, I've even recorded myself doing karate last night and sent it, so confidence is self... Yeah, exactly, right? You actually have the balls to, like, record yourself doing karate. And I bet you it felt good, right? Doesn't it feel crazy about fears that once you actually do them, they're actually not that scary? That's usually been my main realization every time I face a fear, is like, oh shit, it wasn't that bad. Why was I tripping on it for like a year or two or a whole life? You know what took me my whole life to get here? Can you believe that shit? It took me my whole life just to chill and chill out with people and just be like, this is who I am. I'm not perfect. I don't have it all together. Like, you know what I mean? To say, hey, I'm just like everyone else, and I love you and you love me, and we're all good and we're all going to do this together. It's so crazy how I never came to that realization, because as I expressed, that was never how I was treated as a child. But hey, I'm not here to talk about my sad upbringing as a child, but I am trying to talk about his fears and how we can all overcome them. Like right now, I finished my floor. I am done. I just got to let it dry. I've cleaned it up a bit. Oh, trying to see if there's anywhere else I need to grout, but by the looks of it, it doesn't look like there is. So, as we see, mission accomplished. Yeah, I just need to do a little more of this. So, if you guys are wondering what this sponge is for, after you've done all the grouting, you'll notice that there's a lot of disarray. Like, I'll show you what I'm saying. See these corners, everything's white. You want to use the sponge, and you don't want to fill it up with water. Okay, you like clean it in water, but you don't want to fill it up with water, because you don't want to spill a bunch of water all over your floor, because that'll mess your grout up. It'll become like pancake mix. You don't want to do that. So what I'm doing right now, if you guys can see, I am like severely squeezing the crap out of the sponge so that it barely has any water. And that's how you want to do it when you are grouting a floor. So I hope that people have learned a little bit about grouting a floor and how to do it, and also about facing fears, because if we don't do it, what's life all about? And as you can see, I had to take the door off of my my heating room. I'm going to be putting that back on tomorrow once this is all dry. Perfect people are extremely boring. Thanks, Chris. No, it's not. You know what it is? I've never been perfect. I don't think anybody's perfect. I'm the imperfect perfect. You know what I mean? Just like all the rest of us. But I'm being honest. My whole life, the way I was raised was always to make it seem like, unless I had something polished to say, or unless I had composed things, or like, because my parents were very hard to get their attention. They never really paid attention to me, even though I was an only child. So it was like, my dad was quite brilliant, and I mean that honestly, like he was a very smart man. So if I came to him with ideas or anything like that, he would always shrug me off and be like, oh yeah, you're entertaining. Not. And unless I would like prepare stuff and you know, have all A pluses or whatever the case. And that carried with me my whole life. It's like that indoctrination, that type of, you know, and Chris, I mean, you know, too, like, we get indoctrinated to a point that it's so hard to break those cycles. It's so hard to break those parts of ourselves. So today, when I went and saw these different people just connecting with other people, and here I was sitting at home alone again on a Friday, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna grout my floor. I was like, I'm lonely, and I never come on and just chill with people because I'm so scared of myself. Like, I've never just done this. So for me, this was really big. Oh, like, no, my parents weren't narcissists. I would just say, I think it was the 90s. Parents were like a little more arrogant than they are now. Like, they let their kids kind of raise themselves, and it was really hard to get their attention simply because they were kind of self-absorbed. And it's not to say that like all my other friends and, you know, but you know, I see parents nowadays that are like so into what their kids do and so, you know, attentive. And that was not the case in my household. And I was, like I said, I was the only kid. So how I didn't, boomers, exactly. So it was like I kind of ingrained in myself that like, oh, if I'm not perfect, if I don't have things together, I can't get attention. I can't be recognized, or I can't be loved, or I can't be and these are things that our parents teach us. These are things that come from childhood, and we need to break them one by one. And I know you, Chris, you've been doing a lot of that shadow work. We've been working on this for some time. And for those of that are on my channel, I just want to say that this is one that I've had to do, and I'm doing it. So the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And here's my pudding as I do my floor right now. But yeah, it's been a slice. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. I finished the floor. Another success, I would say. But yeah, I do appreciate everyone who came on today. What are you going to do with the rest of the night, Chris? Because I'm probably going to go to bed soon. But what are you up to? I know it's a totally different time in New Zealand. But I know you said you're hungover, so you're definitely not going to go party. Oh no, like the date thing, I thank you, Chris. Like I'm sure I could get a date. Like it's not that I couldn't get a date. It's like I'm broken. I can't really do much. It's 2 p.m. Well, it's I don't even know. I think it's like 11 o'clock here, 11. But thank you. As for the dating, you know what? I've dated people in my past. I've been in relationships and I still felt lonely. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing in this particular day today, I was feeling lonely because not only was it a rainy day, but because I've been home alone, kind of broken. I don't have the ability to go out really. Like I can't really like move or shake or dance or, you know. So me doing the flooring is quite boring, but it's all I can really do tonight. And I feel like I was just like, why not do it with some people instead of always just doing everything by myself and keeping to myself? But I do appreciate the gesture. I will start dating again eventually. I guess it was just hard for me because I was so in love with somebody for so long, and recently I realized that that was all lamenting and imaginary. So I've had a hard time bouncing back from that. I mean, it's hard to lose love. It's hard to lose anybody in this life. And I truly feel like we all get over things. And when I do finally feel like I've gotten over that, I'll go back on the dating field. And I have tried. I've tried to talk to guys, but it's really hard. I mean, like, what do I do? Hi, my name is Ashley. And then the first time they ask me what my job is, you know how many times I've told people what I do? Trust me, that conversation ends pretty quickly. I tell them, hey, I'm a medium. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I first started trying to date, I was like, I'm being honest, I was kind of like, oh yeah, skirting the whole thing. I didn't want to tell people, but now I'm just too tired of that. I'm like, you know what? If you're going to like me, you're going to like me. I'm a medium, get over it. But I kind of didn't start off like that. I didn't like start off saying I was a medium. I was actually hella terrified of that. And that was another fear I had to break. Fear by fear. Now we're here. So yeah, like telling men you're a medium and you've been celibate and all that jazz and you're a single mom, it's not the best resume. You know, it's not the best resume. Plus, I'm nice. That doesn't work very well for women. Like, and I'm not even like super nice where I'm like a pushover. I'm just like nice where it's like I actually have sympathy for people, and that doesn't work out very well. Like, no offense to men, but you guys, like, not all men, I would say some men tend to want women that don't appreciate them. And I think really and truly why good people don't get with good people is because we're all a little broken, us good people. We're so used to in our old lives or in our past lives or even in our childhood or any of our traumas that we go through. A lot of us don't love ourselves enough to ask for what we truly want. And I know I was like that for so many of my relationships all my life. Like legit. Like I would literally like cater to people, not to be a pushover, but it was like to the point where it's like that back to that whole parent thing. Like if I didn't feel like I was doing enough to get love, I didn't feel like I was good enough to get love. And I'm just being as bluntly honest and vulnerable because I feel like that those are all skills that I've been trying to harness in these last years. I'm so tired of pretending that I'm not these things, and being vulnerable is one of the biggest gifts we can get from ourselves. Yeah, exactly. All the love we're looking for in someone else is in ourselves. But at the same time, I also feel like unless we actually get to that place where we love ourselves wholly and truly, we're never going to vibrate at the vibration to find that connection with that secondary person. So I feel like in a weird way, me doing all this work is to find that love of my life. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if I don't love myself fully, I'm not going to like a person that only likes a half-ass version of me. I want somebody who loves the real version, the best version of me, not somebody who's codependent, not somebody who's still tripping on their own ego. Like, that's the thing. It's like we do all of this work, and also at the same time, we're working towards finding that person because I truly believe, the law of attraction, that's how it works. You attract what you are and what you get. Yeah, exactly. I stopped looking a long time ago. That much. Everybody who's come up to me has just been on their own sheer will and desire. I have not gone out. Trust me. When I was in my older days, like the last time I was single, I was 29 years old. I'm now 30. I'm going to be 39 in a couple weeks, but 10 years, okay? And the last time I went out dating, I would go out to bars, I'd go out to all these places, clubs, etc., you know, looking my best, looking my prettiest to try to get attention. But at the end of the day, it was like I always found shitty people and I always ended up in shitty relationships. So this time around, I'm only trying to attract what's best for me, and that's by me just being myself and me just doing what I gotta do. So I really don't think I have to put much effort other than expressing and experimenting and doing these social endeavors to push myself through those boundaries so that I can actually feel like I've actually broken out. And if you guys, I mean, Chris, man, you're breaking out all the time. Yeah, it is going to appear the day that we realize we're great. No, I mean we realize it for some time. We all realize or feel like we're great at different times of our lives. But it's like to walk that walk every day and to be that way every day, that's challenging. And I truly feel like we all, you know, they say fake it till you make it. I don't even want to fake it till I make it. I just want to make it. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to be a fake to get where I'm going. There's no point in being freaking fake because you know how hard it is to be a fake person? You got to put on a persona. You got to remember the lies. You got to remember what you said to a bunch of people. It's exhausting. Honest to God, I am not someone who didn't do that. Trust me. In my older life, in my younger days, I used to make up so much shit just so that I could talk to people, just so that I would have something interesting to say. It was exhausting because really and truly all they were needing was a facade, and we all put these facades on like as if it's helping us, but really it's not. Most of us are on anxiety pill medication. Most of us are smoking so much joints, drinking so much drinks, like snorting so much cocaine just to deal with all the pressures of being that fucking facade. So really and truly, the minute I dropped the facade is when all the vices disappeared. That's the funny thing about it. It's like once I became okay with myself more and more and more, I was like, oh shit, I don't need to get smashed every day just to look at myself in the mirror. I used to hate that. I used to hate looking at myself the next day when I was all hungover. I was always so ashamed of myself. I always felt like when I was living a lie, I was so ashamed of myself because there was this inner, you know, child screaming out, Ashley, be yourself, Ashley. Just do it. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way. You have that little screaming little kid inside of you that's saying, come on, guys. You're good enough. You can do this. But I am done. I am so proud. I must pat the back. Pat myself on back. I finished. Look, see? This is our floor. This is all of the hard work we've been doing. The grouting of the floor. It is all done. So thank you all for joining me on my expose in actually living my best life while grouting floors. This was the product I used, everybody. No, I'm joking. I'm not really doing that. But yeah, I just grouted a floor. I'm gonna go take a nice bath because somebody earlier on this live said that I should wash my hair. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go wash my hair. I'm gonna go wash myself because all full of crud right now. So yeah, I guess this whole live was just to prove to myself that I could be myself in my most authentic self and not have to give two shits to the wind about what others think. But I do love you all, but I had to do this. And if you guys ever want to experience your fears on camera, off camera, and you just want to kick it, I'm here for you because you guys have been here for me in this time. So with that said, Chris, I'm going to head off. Escapism of the Matrix. Yeah, exactly. I don't want no more bars. What's my opinion on meeting people at bars? The grouting tutorial. Yeah. Meeting people at bars can be fun. But I can honestly say I've never come out of a bar with a worthwhile relationship. I'll tell you that much. Usually, 9 times out of 10, you're so inebriated that you think the person's better looking than they really are, and it's vice versa. So that if you do make that mistake of going home with them, the next day you wake up, you're like, who the hell are you? Sorry, I'm just joking. But I'm just trying to say, like, bars can be fun, but at the same time, it is a form of what you said about escapism, because I never met anybody worthwhile at a bar. I might have had some laughs, some jokes, but usually I would just get drunk, forget most of the night, and go home and feel like shit the next morning. So I didn't find anything fruitful in it. I truly feel like I've met better people going to clubs. Like I started a singing class, I met all kinds of cool people. I went to a tennis class, I met all kinds of cool people. Like that's what I want to put my energy in these days versus going out and drinking, because I did that for years. I've been drinking since I was 14 and I quit 4 years ago. So, not to say I don't have a glass of wine here and there with my fish or my meal, especially if I go have a nice elegant meal at a restaurant, but go out and pay for liquor and shit, nah, not me anymore. Yeah, this one, 12 beers? Jesus. I haven't downed 12 beers in my past life. Yeah, maybe. But not now. If I had 2 beers, I'd probably be done for. I can honestly say, like, if I had two, I'd probably be drunk. And that's another good thing, you guys. If you do quit drinking, if you ever should have a drink or not, you'll notice that your tolerance is so low that it costs you like $5 to like get drunk. I'm too ugly to date at the bar. Wow. Okay, Chris, man, we gotta raise that confidence a little bit. I've met you online and I've seen you and no, you're not too ugly to date at the bar. Oh my God. I wish you could see through my eyeballs right now some of the men I've run into at bars. And you are not one of them, my friend. So please do not think that way. If anything, I think you would fascinate and regale all the women with your karate stories and all of your workouts and all of your martial artistry, and it would be quite fascinating. So they won't let you in. Okay, that's a different story there, Chris. Like if they're not letting you into the bar, it might be because you caused too many problems, or maybe you've been a little more issues than you are. And also at the same time too, if you're somebody who's in the martial arts and you flex that a lot, you might piss off a lot of bouncers, because usually bouncers want to be the like best and strongest people at a bar. So if you're somebody who's like coming in there a little confrontational, you may not get in. So just remember that, because I've done that too. I've been kicked out of a lot of clubs and bars in my heyday because I had a big mouth. That was my problem. People would talk smack to me in my past life and I would have at it. But oh, okay. And then I don't know why they wouldn't let you in. Is it because you smell like beans? I don't know if you smell like beans. I've never smelled you, but I'm just messing with you. Maybe, like, do you know why they don't let you into the bar? Like, is it a personal thing? Like, do they know your cousins or something? Like, is that why they don't let you in? You just said everyone loves you, so what's the deal? Why are they such haters at the bar? Or is it because you don't pay your tab? That could be another reason. If you've walked out on a bar, they ain't gonna let you back. Because you need a shower. Oh, there we go. That's why. Okay, now we've narrowed it down. Well, Chris, note to self, if you do ever want to go to a bar, we do recommend showering, because not only will you be a fan to everyone around you, if you do want to pick up a lady, I'm pretty sure they'd want you to shower. They won't give you free drinks. Yeah, they won't give me free drinks either. So don't feel like you're alone in that one. They're not going to give you free drinks. That's why most of us drink at home, because it's a lot more cheap than... I shower every other day and it's still pretty bad. Oh man, Chow Shows, I don't know your true name, but you only have one dressy shirt and you shower every other day. But if you were going to a bar, Chow Shows, would you take a shower? Would you entertain the thought? Like, would you go in your second day grunge to the bar if you knew that you were going there to meet people? Best pickup line that I've ever heard? I don't know. I haven't heard many. Yeah, if you're on purpose going, you're going to take a shower, right? You're not going to go stink up the joint. Like, if you're going to go kick it and play video games with your friends, it's one thing. But if you're going to, like, go to try to, meet a woman, I hope you guys shower. No, cologne is not a secret. Okay, first off, I'm going to say this to all the men here. If you douse yourself in cologne enough that you think you're covering the stink, that is so false. You need, just like art, Chris, you need a blank canvas to make that scent smell great. If you're dousing yourself with cologne over a shitty smell, it's just going to smell like a shitty smell that got covered up by cologne. So please no, cologne is not your friend. Like a lot of men think that the more cologne they put on, the more better they smell. No, sometimes it gives us headaches. Like sometimes the cologne's so strong that it's like we can't even like smell you for too long. It is alluring when it's, you know, a little here, a little there, or some here, some there. That's it. Or a little spray on the shirt. But some guys, it feels like they just bathe in the shit. And then you end up like going like, oh my God, my eyes are watering when I talk to this guy. It's not a secret weapon, Chris. It's not. Just for any of you guys out there that want to know. It's just like women can do it too. Like, don't think you guys are the only ones. Women can douse themselves in perfumes all day. So don't think that you're the only ones out there. But Old Spice, Grandpa mode. Eee. Hey, I'm not a fan of Old Spice. I've never or I remember what was that other one? The Irish Spring soap that guys use. Never a fan of that. What totally recommend if you guys are interested in knowing, because everybody has a different smell. This is something I learned in Morocco when I was living there. They used to have a lot of pure perfumeries, and it really stands to do one of these perfume tests if you do ever go to like a place with good perfume selection. You can do these tests where they tell you like from your specific scent what works best. If it's like woodiness, if it's like aqua, if it's like they can actually test your smell so that they can know what smells actually work best. Because sometimes guys smell things, but they don't realize that their own scent that they're giving off kind of goes against the scent that they're trying to put on. You always want one that kind of goes with the scent you have. That works better. What? Hold on. LOL, as long as you're clean, fresh, yes, that's the best cologne anyone can have. But it was bought out by P&G, so it could make your hair fall out a little. Oh, you talking about Irish Spring? Is that why like guys use it so they could like not be as hairy? I didn't know about that, but I always thought it was like the most pungent smell. It used to remind me of those stupid Christmas trees that people put in their cars to make it smell good. That's what Irish Spring always reminded me of, and I was never a fan of that. Native. I'm so confused. Native. You smell native? Is that what you're saying? If you have strong hair, it might not matter though. Yeah, it depends on the person. I personally wouldn't want anything that makes my hair fall out. Do some women are very attracted to scent and some are not, so it's all different. It's the same like some women absolutely drown the cologne and smell like a perfume factory. Yeah, exactly. It's like some people think that that's the best thing since sliced bread. It's not a fan of mine. Native is oh yeah, native. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Sorry. It's just when you put out native, I was like, I don't know what that means. Read my comment above. Oh, thank you. Yes, that clears it up, Charles Rose. I totally didn't see that. I apologize. Some of the stream's going a little faster. Yeah, I use native a lot, but it for like the girl version. Yeah, it's a natural everything. They make their own well, I mean here in Canada, native, we have that one and hello. Native and hello are one of the ones that carry like shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, toothpaste. I don't know if it's the same. Yeah, me too. I've already done that. I've already done my deodorant, my toothpaste, my shampoos, all paraben free. I've been actually using egg a lot for conditioner, but you guys don't use conditioner as dudes, I don't think. But I've been using egg a lot because that actually helps because I have really, really dry hair. So I need to keep like putting oil in every nutrition and omega I can. And so I just decided to start putting it directly. I was like, forget the middleman. I'm just gonna put the omega straight to the cabeza here. Oh my God, I know. I had to like at first I went through all these different products and all these different things. And I once I see names I can't pronounce, I get away from it. Like I'm not even gonna mess. Like, yes, I understand that scientifically and chemically some of these things are okay for us because like even with salt, they use different versions of the particle of salt to do good things. But at the same time, it's like if I'm reading and I see gamma noxaline and all of that at the end of those statements and I'm like, oh, all you're trying to say is lemon. I'm like, no, let's just stick with the lemon. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have patience or time to read all these ingredients that I don't understand. I'm not going to go through my scientific scientific, chemistry book to figure out what kind of form of atom they've created it into. It's not my cup of tea. I don't know because they have different brands. Like I like with Native, I've seen that they have lemongrass, they have coconut, and I forget the third one for women. But I don't know if it's different for men, and I don't know if they have it in New Zealand, and I don't know where Chow Shows is. I'm gonna take a stab that he's in the States. That's my guess because I think Native is more predominantly found in the States, and the only place I find it is at Walmart, and that's because, yeah, exactly, he's from the US, Kentucky. So it's like I can only find it at Walmart because Walmart's an American brand. So yeah, fun fact time, literally. I'm so sorry, guys, but I think I'm gonna head off because I finished my floor. Chow shows you didn't get to see, but I managed to grout all of my floor while I was having this live. That's what I was doing the whole time. I was grouting the floor before y'all came on. But Kentucky, I've been to Kentucky. I had one of the biggest Kentucky Fried Chicken legs I've ever had in my life. The thing looked like a turkey leg. I was just like, oh my God, these chickens are massive here in Kentucky. It was like some big ass chicken. But not to be cliche, but I really did go to Kentucky Fried Chicken because I was in Kentucky and I was blown away at the size of the thing. I got so scared. I was like, I'm not eating this. But I thought Kentucky was pretty cool. I was only there for a day. I was on my way to Florida, but it was pretty cool. The people were hella nice, so I definitely recommend Kentucky. But yes, my loves, I'm going to go off. I've already been on for 2 hours doing this live. I don't know what to name it. You guys got any recommendations? Yeah, it's more popular in Japan. I mean, I went back when I was like 19. Any suggestions on the name of this? Grouting the floor and fighting fears. I think that's what I'm going to call this. I seriously feel like that's what I'm going to call this live. Grouting floors and fighting fear. Come join me as I take an escape of grouting the floors and fighting fear. But that's what this was all. Time for a Colonel Burger. Oh my God. I used to love those. I don't know. KFC used to be really, really good. And now it ain't. I don't think KFC is what it used to be. It's honestly like so scary to know what's in a lot of our fast food right now. Like McDonald's, KFC, any of them. They're terrifying. Terrifying. Like when I found out, because my son loves chicken nuggets and I had to stop giving him chicken nuggets from McDonald's because they put like cement epoxy in chicken nuggets just so they can get it in that shape and keep it together. And that's why it's so delicious. If you guys don't believe me, look it up. Cement epoxy. That's what they put. And that's what we're giving our children. And KFC has got the most outrageous, like outcasted ways of rulings and beings when it comes to raising their chickens, that they're so antibiotic ridden. They're literally like falling apart in their own little, they're not even given space to run. That's why their legs are all atrophied most of the time, because they don't even run around. They just run into each other, peck each other to death. It's brutal looking at those KFC documentaries. I basically don't buy KFC anymore for that reason. Yeah, see? Blackberries. I got a blackberry bush outside. I eat blackberries all the time. I love chicken though. I'm not gonna lie, but I like free range chicken. Like I realized when I lived in Europe for a long time that a lot of us in North America, at least, and maybe you can chime in, Chris, because maybe it's better in New Zealand. But I didn't know that chickens weren't white like their skin. Okay. It took me to go to like live in North Africa and Europe to realize that chicken skin's supposed to be more on the yellow side. And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that eggs were supposed to be orange when you crack them. That's how messed up the freaking chicken system is over here in Canada. I literally thought that eggs were yellow my whole life and that chicken skin is like some translucent white color. And then it wasn't until I had real farm raised, like I could see the chickens, I watched them get killed and then get plucked in front of my eyeballs, that I was like, oh, wow, that's what chicken's supposed to look like. And they're like half the size that we buy in our supermarkets every day. It's ridiculous. And a lot of our food here in Canada and the United States, they won't even allow, like Europeans won't even eat it. Like that's how bad our food is over here. It's like ridiculous. Like the Europeans are like, no, we'll take care of ourselves. We're not gonna bother with all this. I consider being vegan. I did vegan for a year, okay? I did vegan for a year. I ate no cheese, no nothing, okay? What I will say is that if you're not the most prepared, okay? If you're not like literally sacrificing your whole Sunday to doing a lot of prep, it's really hard to maintain simply because I found that I was always resorting to fried foods. Like if I was out at a bar, restaurant, whatever the case may be, a lot of the foods that were available were fried, and I noticed that I tended to lean more towards those fried foods because A, there's not the best selection if you're out there, and then two, it's like if you're minimized on selection, you end up buying the more worst thing. So I found that my cholesterol levels went up really high. I used to feel really weak during the day because as much as I was eating nuts and everything, I miss things like cheese. Cheese used to be something that was really good, or at least I felt was really good. So I ended up weakening and getting off of veganism simply because I couldn't maintain it. But for those that can, by all means, especially if you have the means and money to do it, it's really expensive. But if you can, why not? I try to just eat as clean as I can, lots of fruits and vegetables, and I try to eat semi vegetarian, semi meat because I love fish and chicken. I'm not gonna lie. I could not deal with the pork and the beef. That wouldn't bother me at all. Plus, who can afford it in these days? Like really and truly, I don't know what the prices are where you live, but I can afford beef if my life depended on it right now. Yeah, mozzarella cheese. Who can eat like vegan cheese? I've tried. I wish I could say that it was great. I'm not going to lie to your faces right now. It was not great. They have made huge advances with vegan cheese, but it ain't no mozzarella. I'll tell you that much. It is starting to become more stringy and meltable, which is very useful because when I had my kitchen a couple years back, I'd say about 5, 6 years ago, I used to run a kitchen and I used to have to do vegan food, vegan nachos, vegan pizza. And I couldn't melt that pizza cheese if my like vegan cheese, if I couldn't. Yeah, you know what? I don't mind vegan chicken. Like if it's things like jackfruit, I'm a big fan of jackfruit. I was a big fan of tofu, cauliflower supplements because that's really what they're doing, right? Or even chickpeas. Like you can mash all of that up and kind of make it into a nugget. I'm totally for that. I have nothing against vegan chicken. It's all right. Yeah, in some ways, what you will realize over time, like that's what I mean about the prep, about being vegan, because when you buy those things on the supermarkets, they're full and jam packed with chemicals to kind of maneuver smells. Like, don't ever look at what a vegan hot dog is made out of. It's scarier than what actual hot dogs are made out of. So, realistically, it's like that's why I think we always have to strike a balance with everything. We have to kind of not jackfruit burgers are friggin' amazing. I love, or even black bean burgers. Those are awesome with a little quinoa mixed in. I used to make all of my food, so that's what I'm saying. It was very arduous, and like now as a single mom, I wouldn't even attempt it. You'd have to be like hella, hella, hella have nothing to do in your life to pull that all off. You don't like beans. Oh, then that would be a little hard because realistically, beans are a big foundation if you're a vegetarian or vegan. Well, see, for me, my favorite, like I don't like beans whole. I'm not a big fan of beans whole. I was always fan of like pureeing beans or actually extracting the rind. But I know what you're saying that they're actually toxic before cooked. That's the same as coffee too. Like there's a fungal agent in beans and in coffee that is not good for us. So yes, you are correct. And that's why the whole process of making coffee, it's addictive as hell, but it's technically not the best for it. I forget the name, if it's niacin or something like that that's in coffee and beans. I could be wrong, but I know that there's something up with that before they're cooked. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I did vegan for a year. I was vegetarian for several years because my first husband, for those of you that watch me or don't watch me, I was married when I was really young, and my first husband was born vegetarian. Like his parents raised him vegetarian, so he had never even eaten meat. So I literally learned everything about vegetarianism, and I was okay with that. Like if you still give me eggs and cheese and dairy, I can kick it vegetarian all day. So I have no problem with that. But yes, I don't know. Like I feel like everybody just has to find what's harmonic to them, what works best for them. But out of all of them, our best friends are green veggies. Like we cannot escape that in antioxidants. Like as long as we have tons of antioxidants in our food, I think that we do really well. That's what I try to strive for, really and truly. Join an off the grid vegan call. Well, good for you, Chris. If I think you'd be really skinny and bored very soon, but hey, that's on you, brother. You do you. And with that said, I gotta go. I'ma go. It's almost 2 hours over here. You know what am I doing? Yay! Kikatsu-fi. Thank you. Let me go. I love you guys. Thank you for coming on. I had a great time just kicking it. This is a grouting and kicking it with you guys day. I love you. Have a good one. Bye for now.